I wanted to do a live because basically I wanted to talk about Michael Jordan, just his history and basically him being quote unquote to me a little bit petty, with him and his lifelong grudges and his need to get even with people. So I just decided to do a live in regards to this. Um, I saw a video by 7A Sports. Shout out to 7A Sports. I've been talking about this too, about Michael Jordan. And this is why I've always had the stance on why I don't look at athletes as role models. I do not look for a athlete or a celebrity to raise my children. I think that whole role model notion is a bunch of crap. To think that you want to put out this notion that somebody that you have never met and can't speak to on a regular basis is a role model for your children, I think is complete BS. And that's why I laugh at this whole thing about John Morant. Unfortunately, I am worried about John Morant and where he's headed. At the end of the day, a lot of times you just have dudes that just want to leech off of you just for your status and who you are. And they don't want to be beneficial to you. They just want to ride off your coattail because they figure them being aligned with you brings stature and notoriety to them. So, like I said, I've never believed in that athletes or role model stuff. That's just complete crap. I admire what these guys do on the baseball diamond or the football field or the basketball court or the boxing ring or what they do on the big screen or the small screen, but that's about it. I'm serious. How can you look up to somebody that you can have a conversation with on a regular basis? Where basically you just watch them play basketball, and I think they need to stop. Basically trying to push that notion towards people because this day and age you can't be perfect. Back in the day, to a certain degree, um, it was a lot easier to hide stuff that was going on in your personal life. But now with the internet age and all this kind of stuff with artificial intelligence and stuff and social media, it's just very difficult to keep your life private because now somebody's always watching. And then the people that you think is cool with you, your best friends, your confidants, they sometimes may be tallying up information to basically use it against you at some point in time. That's just basically how people is these days. And that's why you got to start having people sign non-disclosure agreements and all that kind of stuff, to basically keep your private life private for the most part. It's just very hard to maintain a private life, especially when you're out there all the time. But I'm just looking at Michael Jordan and just how this guy gets down. This dude still doesn't get along with Isaiah Thomas. And then this stuff with Scottie Pippen and his son dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa, and just a whole bunch of things about Michael Jordan. Listen, I respect Michael Jordan for what he did on the basketball court. Yeah, love his shoes, wear his shoes, buy his shoes. But that's as far as it go because at the end of the day, you just heard some horror stories. What's up, CB? You just heard some horror stories about Michael Jordan, what type of person he is. I've heard it from people that's from Chicago. I done heard just horror stories about Michael Jordan, basically, shunning, black kids who were seeking autographs and then would sign autographs for white or non-black kids. At the end of the day, whether Michael Jordan likes it or not, the black community helped Michael Jordan become a billionaire. And we made those Jordan shoes popular because we were the ones buying them, the rappers and everything, wearing them on videos. And a lot of the rappers were just wearing them on GP. No endorsement from Nike or Michael Jordan whatsoever. So guess what? When these white boys and these non-blacks would see us wear Jordans, well, guess what? They wanted to buy Jordan. So at the end of the day, we played a part in culture shock. Black people always, come up with something. revolutionize something, create something. Uh, just and we never get credit for it. And then just to hear how Michael Jordan would treat rappers when he would see them at gatherings and stuff, and they'd say, "Hey, can I take a picture?" And they say Michael Jordan would be very standoffish and disrespectful towards rappers and stuff. So, you just did heard a lot of things about MJ behind the scenes. Yeah, and in case you guys don't know, my homeboy CB is from Chicago. So if he says it's true, then it's true. So, he is from Chicago. so, so and this is what I'm saying. So this is the stuff that I've heard about MJ. You know, um, Even though Isaiah Thomas is not a saint, then nobody likes Isaiah. Nobody likes Isaiah Thomas. Um, Isaiah Thomas had always had this issue with Michael Jordan because, Michael Jordan came to Chicago and took over his city. That was his city. He was from Chicago, and Michael Jordan, he came there and basically he became the face of that city. He literally, when you thought of Chicago at one time, from the mid 80s to the late 90s, you thought of Michael Jordan. It was MJ was synonymous with the city of Chicago. And to this day, when you think of Chicago, you think of Michael Jordan. You think of those six championships. So, I've never been to Chicago. Always wanted to go to Chicago, but just don't never had no business in Chicago. So, I mean, but that's just the truth. But I'm just thinking about these these lifelong grudges that he's had against people. You know, quiet as kept. You heard that, you know, MJ made sure Isaiah Thomas wasn't on the first Dream Team. Look, I gotta keep it a buck. I thought it was a joke that Christian Leitner was on the first inaugural Dream Team where they use the pros instead of the college players. I thought that was crazy. Isaiah Thomas for sure should have been on that team, and then um, I think for the most part they had it right. I mean, I forgot who was all on that first Dream Team. I know noticeably it was, of course, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, um, Chris Mullin, um, if I'm not mistaken, Charles Barkley, Carl Carl Malone, Clyde. I can't remember everybody that was on there, but it was they pretty much for the most part had everybody that was supposed to be on there except Isaiah Thomas. And Isaiah Thomas to this day despises Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan despises Isaiah Thomas because everybody remember the infamous All Star game where allegedly Isaiah Thomas organized a freeze out not to pass Michael Jordan the ball, where basically he got together with some of the players and they basically said, "Hey, don't pass MJ the ball." So this is some of the stuff that went on now. And if you saw the last dance, I keep calling it sometimes in my mind the last meal. But if you saw the last dance, Michael Jordan said himself that he got a phone call and basically he asked who was going to be on the dream team, and they told him, "Don't worry, you know who is not going to be on there." And come on, we know he was talking about Isaiah Thomas. They got Isaiah Thomas to talk on the last um, on the last dance. I need to rewatch that. I think I'll go on Netflix and rewatch that. That's available for viewing via Netflix. Real good series. I remember everybody that watched it. It was one of the highest rating series during, well, you know what was going on in 2020. So, but you just heard a lot of things. Then you got this situation with Scottie Pippen. I just got to keep it a buck. Look, I know Marcus Jordan is 30 something years old, but at the end of the day, he ain't got no business walking around. and screwing around with Larsa Pippen. Larsa Pippen, at the end of the day, she just a whore, and it just need to be said. She ain't got no, but she out of all the ex basketball players she could date and screw around with, she chose to, screw around with Michael Jordan's son. And it almost seemed like it was orchestrated. And a lot of people have accused Michael Jordan of orchestrating this because he wanted to get even with Scottie Pippen because of what Scottie Pippen said about him. And now Scottie Pippen, based off the fact that, you know, um, this thing with Larsa Pippen, Scottie Pippen went full fledged, basically F Michael Jordan. I don't like the nigga, and I never did. Which many of us believe that Scottie Pippen never liked Michael Jordan. I told people this. I told people this a while ago. I did videos before this even, was made public. Before it started to really, make its way around, internet circulation. I said that I believed that Scottie Pippen didn't like Michael Jordan. I believed that they didn't really get along and they wasn't the best of friends. And you could just tell looking at Scottie Pippen, because keep in mind, I remember those championship runs. I remember, of course, the infamous flu game, food poisoning game, whatever you think happened to Michael Jordan. There's so many different damn stories about what happened with that game. But I remember Michael Jordan, when Scottie Pippen was helping him off the court and stuff, and Scottie Pippen had this look like, you fake ass, and like he was just looking at Michael Jordan like he was just pouring it on thick. And I remember watching the flu game, or whatever you want to call it. It was kind of funny because I seen it when it first happened. I was just laughing because it kind of, the way Michael Jordan was like acting like he was about to fall out, it kind of reminded me of that performance by James Brown where he just took a knee, and then he had them dudes put that cape over him, because that's what that reminded me of. And first of all, I never believed that Michael Jordan had the flu, because anybody that had the flu, whether it's the 24-hour flu, I don't care how many liquids you take, I don't care how many 7-Ups or ginger ales you drink, it ain't no way you finna get it is no way you're gonna get healthy enough in time, run up and down the court, and basically, I think, how many points did Michael Jordan, CB, how many points did Michael Jordan have in that flu game? What, 37? And he played, how many minutes did he play? He played like, what, 40 minutes? Ain't no way in hell. I never believed that. Because let's just face the fact. I'm going to just tell you right now, if you coming off the 24-hour flu and you try to go to the gym and you try to play basketball, more than likely you're going to fall out and die. And I'm just keeping it. He had 30. Okay, how many minutes did he play? Okay, he had 30. Yeah, because I remember that game, and I was like the flu. Yeah, see that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's just impossible. I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. I had the 24-hour flu. It ain't no way in hell you could. That's why when they started to say, well, he probably had food poisoning from some pizza that got delivered to his room, and you heard this elaborate story about how many people showed up to deliver the pizza, like 8 people. First of all, if eight people show up to deliver a pizza, I ain't eating the damn pizza. So I was just thinking, okay, I just never bought into that flu game stuff. I just thought maybe it was something else. Because like I said, if you tried to play basketball, and then you got to understand, you're going to be sweating, you around other people. So, the body heat, like I said before, Michael Jordan must not be human, because like I said, you literally would have probably fell out and died. So I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm not even trying to be, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just telling you, I never believed that Michael Jordan had the flu, because I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to tell you, if you tried to play hoop, and I'm talking about, first of all, you in an arena that like got like 18, 19, 20,000 people. Like I said, you running up and down the court, like you sweating, his body heat and all that kind of stuff. And you coming off the flu, like I said, Michael Jordan would have, I'm seriously, he, you would have got dizzy spells. The first like 5 minutes trying to run up and down the court. And then, like I said, he scored 38 points and he played like 40 something minutes. Man, I never bought into that. So that's the contempt that Scottie Pippen had for him. And then keep in mind, I keep saying this about the Chicago Bulls. I remember Michael Jordan the day he got drafted. I've done several videos about, I remember all this Michael Jordan stuff. When he got drafted, I remember the Nike stuff. And quiet as kept, even though I love that movie Air, that movie Air is good, but is inaccurate. Michael Jordan, his rookie year, he wore these shoes called the Airships. You can buy them. They're available for purchase on GOAT and all that stuff. He wore the Airships first. You didn't see those Air Jordans, I think, till like the second half of the season. And then they wasn't available for purchase till like his second season. Like going into the 85, 86, 86 season. Like I said, I remember all this stuff. So that movie Air is inaccurate. And then the first shoes that they designed wasn't the Chicago ones. Actually, it was the Breads that they first like made available for purchase. Then the Chicago's, and then all the other colors, the shattered backboards and the blue ones. So, I'm a historian, so I just remember all this stuff. The Chicago Bulls had a losing record until Scottie Pippen showed up. It's just like, sort of like Scottie Pippen feel like G Money from New Jack City when it comes to the whole Chicago Bulls thing. Like, you didn't do this by yourself. We did this. And the problem is, I've said this on several occasions, and the Michael Jordan apologists, they get upset when you bring this up. People act like Michael Jordan scored every damn point. Like he did everything. People act like Michael Jordan played all 5 positions, which he didn't. The reason why it was so easy for Michael Jordan to, to flourish, because they would put Scottie Pippen on the best offensive player on the opposing team. Scottie Pippen was a lockdown defender. I'm talking about Scottie Pippen was a lockdown. That dude could lock you up. Scottie Pippen was that dude, man. And I know, unfortunately, he had to play alongside Michael Jordan, or Michael Jordan got all of the credit. Even though Michael Jordan said he wouldn't have won them championships without Scottie Pippen, the Michael Jordan apologists refused to accept and believe what Michael Jordan says. Basically, no. It's just all Michael Jordan. And that's not accurate. They were called the Chicago Bulls, not the Chicago Michael Jordans. Well, CB, you was there. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying, the Chicago Bulls had a losing record till Scottie Pippen got there. And then they started to build around Jordan and Pippen. Then they added the pieces. Then they interchanged certain pieces. Horace Grant, they was always able to interchange certain pieces. And then they won their first 3. And then, Jordan went on hiatus for like a year and some change, which, by the way, I'm going to do a video about what I think really happened with Michael Jordan. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I believe that Michael Jordan did not really retire. It's more to that so-called retirement than meets the eye, because like I said before, okay, if you retire, why do you need David Stern there? Why is the commissioner coming to your retirement? Once again, I remember all this stuff. I remember seeing all this stuff, and it was just something. I never bought into that Michael Jordan when he retired the first time. I always believed that nobody believed that Michael Jordan was going to stay retired. And I believe it was more to this story than meets the eye. And I guarantee you, eventually what really happened with Michael Jordan and that first so-called retirement, the truth is going to come out. Eventually. They either going to wait till Michael Jordan is almost out of here or when Michael Jordan is out of here. But I'm telling you right now, I don't believe that Michael Jordan really retired because he came back with 16 games left, if I'm not mistaken. What was CB when he came? He said, "Okay, I'm back." It was like 16 games left. Why not just wait to the whole? Why would you just come back with 16 games left? Why not just come back the very next year? So, like I said, it's a lot of stuff. It is a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Like I said, Michael Jordan left Scottie Pippen hanging on a lot of different things. He should have fought for Scottie Pippen to get a better deal, even though Scottie Pippen was grossly underpaid. But Scottie Pippen was in one of them situations where he needed the money. And, it's one of them situations where you got people depending on you, leaning on you, leeching off of you. So he signed that terrible deal. But Jerry Reinsdorf, that's what kind of dude he was, man. He made billions off the Chicago Bulls. He made billions off. He underpaid Michael Jordan. He underpaid Scottie Pippen. And that's just real talk. And people can say, well, Scottie Pippen shouldn't have did this. It's easy for you to say when you ain't in that situation. People don't understand when you the breadwinner of the family, and that's what I understand is going on with Ja Morant. He under a lot of pressure, being the breadwinner and stuff, being the dude. So it's kind of hard. Maybe he doesn't want it. So, but that's another video for another day. But then I've just been sitting up here just looking at Michael Jordan and his persona, like how petty this dude is. You just didn't heard a lot of different things. You heard about how Michael Jordan damn near deleted one of his children, at the house, like I think playing football or something, caused one of his children to go to the hospital and stuff. Like Michael Jordan was like, I know he posed to be a fierce competitor, but man, at the end of the day, those are still your children. Remember, he cut off Charles Barkley because Charles Barkley criticized him as an owner. And I ain't the biggest Charles Barkley fan. Everybody knows I can't stand Charles Barkley. But then I just don't like some of Michael Jordan's antics. Like I said before, Michael Jordan was silent about any important thing pertaining to the community. From his Republican buy sneakers too. And, Michael Jordan, he never said nothing. He never said nothing about nothing. And Michael Jordan had people advising him just to be quiet, just play basketball. And like I said before, the reason why the NBA picked Michael Jordan, he was talented. And yes, he was a fierce competitor. And the NBA took a chance on letting Michael Jordan carry the league, post Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Keep in mind, I think to a certain degree, Michael Jordan took the fear out of dark-skinned black men. Michael Jordan, if you've seen Michael Jordan in person, Michael Jordan is a very dark-skinned black man. See, guys like me, I'm willing to have these kind of conversations and put that out there because a lot of people don't want to have these kind of conversations, but I'm the type of dude that'll put it out there. Look, I'm not stupid. I'm 48 years old. I didn't seen enough to where I can talk about this kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, I was still born in a time where they had open racism, not Ku Klux Klan type of racism or Jim Crow type of Willie Lynch type of racism, but you still could see it. Now they tried to hide it and tried to make it look like it didn't exist, like when my son was born and stuff. But now they basically going back to the old days where they blatantly starting to let people know how they feel. They basically bring it back to Jim Crow, Willie Lynch mentality. So now it's more open than, basically than what it was in the 90s because they didn't have what you would call now the internet social media age. But now with the internet social media age, is like I said, it's kind of hard to hide certain feelings that you have towards other groups. So that's the difference now. It's sort of like then And like it's sort of like they basically circle back, history repeating itself. Now it ain't too many people walking around in blatant white sheets, but you starting to see it's just out in the open. So, like I said, I remember all this kind of stuff. So, you know, but getting back to, MJ, um, that's just the truth. I really think that's why he was what you call quote unquote the chosen one. So he felt like, I guess he felt like he owed it to them, just to be politically correct. Just basically don't say nothing about nothing. And I think to a certain degree, I think that hurt Michael Jordan. I think he could have been a little more vocal than what he was. I mean, he just said absolutely nothing. He did absolutely nothing. And then everybody remembered the Craig Hodges situation. He just left him hanging when Craig Hodges wore that dashiki to the White House. That was the most, and that's why another reason why I didn't like David Stern. They basically ostracized and blackballed that dude out of the league, basically when his contract was up because he wore a dashiki to the White House. Thought that was stupid. I thought that was petty, but we all know that was one of the reasons why he never pretty much got another job in the NBA. And that just goes to show you how David Stern was. I never cared for that dude. David Stern was one of the most biggest hypocrites I ever seen in my life. This dude would be talking about the image of the league, but yet we know for a fact this dude rigged drafts. Not a draft. He rigged multiple drafts from the inaugural 1985 draft where they screwed the Golden State Warriors out of Patrick Ewing when the Golden State Warriors had the worst record in the league, and they basically screwed the Warriors out of the number one overall pick by basically, and then ironically, it was fixed to where the New York Knicks got the number one overall pick. And we all know who was the number one overall pick in 1985, and that was Patrick Ewing. Now, even though the Warriors, I think, got the number 6 pick, I think, in 1985, and they went on to draft their own Hall of Famer and Chris Mullin, just think what Patrick Ewing could have did for the Warriors if the Warriors would have got the number one overall pick, which was Patrick Ewing. We all knew that Patrick Ewing was going to be the number one overall pick coming out of Georgetown. And the NBA came out of nowhere and came with that lottery stuff. From everything you heard about a frozen envelope and a creased envelope, and people pretty much then admitted that that was around in those days. Now that David Stern is not here no more, a lot of people then just basically admitted that a lot of NBA drafts was rigged. Now we all know that the 93 and 92 draft was suspect, where basically you had the Orlando Magic get the number one overall pick 2 years in a row. How do you get the number one overall pick 2 years in a row, which ends up being Shaquille O'Neal and Chris Webber? Okay, make that make sense. So I'm just saying. But I digress. I got a little bit off topic, but all this is just tied together about the NBA. All this, how they get down. And then this, but getting back to MJ, he just, dude is just, he just, I don't know, man. He just too, I don't want to say that word, too emotional, but he is petty. He's petty. He's petty. I mean, you say anything about him, he gets mad. But like I said before, you didn't heard questionable things about him. So that's what makes it kind of weird. This dude Michael Jordan do stuff to people, but he hates it when you do or say something to him. And like I said before, they did Scottie Pippen dirty on the last dance. They made it look like Scottie Pippen was a dude who cared about money more than he did winning that. Hey, look, pay the dude his money. People could holler about, oh, well, he shouldn't have signed that contract. It's easy for you to say that if it didn't happen to you. But Scottie Pippen made the crucial mistake of trusting the filmmakers. Always. This is real talk. If anybody be in a situation where somebody want to make a movie about you, a live movie about you, say, let me get Final Cut. I'm not signing nothing until I see Final Cut. And what you need to know about what Final Cut means, because I'm into filmmaking and all that kind of stuff. I know a lot about it. Final Cut is basically the final version of the film or whatever TV or movie project or documentary, when it's completed. Because when they do a film, they have several different edits. So they may edit a movie 2, 3, 4, 5 times before, basically they have like the final edit. And the final edit is like the final version that they're gonna print up and distribute, either put in the movie theaters, make available for viewing, streaming, whatever the case may be. The final version, basically the finished project. Because they can sit up there and say, okay, well, here's what we got so far. Why don't you, no, I want to see the final version of this film. And when I see the final version, which is the completed version, then I'll sign my portion of where you could use the footage you filmed of me. And then basically, if let's just say they say, okay, this is the final version, then they edit it again, then you can take legal action against them because that's breach of contract. And then you could basically sue them for probably defamation of character. But just remember that. But yeah, they just did Scottie Pippen dirty. Now listen, I disagree with what Scottie Pippen was saying about Michael Jordan ain't a good player and all that kind of stuff. That's just absolutely false to say Michael Jordan wasn't a good player. I understand if he's saying Michael Jordan isn't a good person, because I truly believe that. I don't believe that Michael Jordan is a good person. I think Michael Jordan is a jerk. The same as Isaiah Thomas. The same way Isaiah Thomas questions Michael Jordan's characters. Like I said, there is a lot of people that have said a lot of stuff about Isaiah Thomas, saying that he is snake, saying he can't be trusted. How he used to, and then Isaiah Thomas, he will be forever linked to basically that incident where the Chicago Bulls beat them. I think it was the Eastern Conference Finals or semifinals, and they walked off the court. They refused to shake the Chicago Bulls hands. And then Isaiah Thomas, when they interviewed him about it, the explanation he gave was just so weak. It was just like, man, come on, dude. And this is why I tell people, this is why we shouldn't look up to athletes, because athletes could be worse than regular people. Like petty. Just petty. Most of these athletes, and I'm gonna just keep it 100, as a dude that then been around a lot of athletes, man, when you meet some of these people in person, you be wanting to, like, man, for real, how they come at you, you be wanting to like I swear, you be wanting to take off on them, especially a lot of these boxers. So this is why, like I said, you shouldn't like ask a celebrity to raise your children. If you look up to a celebrity to raise your children, something is seriously wrong with you. If you sitting up saying you need to be like, if you the parent and you sitting up saying that you need to be more like LeBron, and you don't even know what LeBron is doing behind closed doors or whatever the case may be, if you sitting up there telling your child that you need to look up to LeBron James, yeah, you really need to question your parenting skills. That's just the way it is. It just need to be said. I'm serious. The whole time when my son was growing up, I wanted him to look up to me and his mother, or somebody that he could actually be in contact with, like his uncle, his aunts. actually real influences. Not no nigga on TV bouncing the basketball. like I just like I said, I just think that whole role model stuff is just a load of crap. It's not, it's not a rapper's job, it's not an actor's job, and it's not an athlete's job to raise your children. You are the parent. The child's name and your name is on the birth certificate, not LeBron James. The only way LeBron James' name is on the birth certificate if he's the biological father. You are responsible for raising your children, not no damn athlete, not no actor, not no whatever type of celebrity. So, I'm just keeping it a buck. And like I said before, the whole thing with Scottie Pippen and his ex-wife, like I said, his wife is a thought pocket. Larsa Pippen is a thought pocket. For real. She, I mean, to be sitting up there screwing around with somebody like, like that you would see basically as a little boy coming to the games and stuff. Like, man, get out of here. Get out of here. It's no way to justify that. Like I said before, you know how many dudes that played in the NBA other than Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. I mean, why not get with an NFL player? Why not get with a hockey player? Why not get with a Major League Baseball player? Why it got to be the teammate of your ex-husband who he really don't like? Why I got to be the son of your ex-husband's, teammate who basically they went to war on the basketball court? It's just weak sauce. And I just believe to a certain degree, Michael Jordan signed off on this and put him up to this to a certain degree. Allegedly. I gotta say allegedly because you never know who's listening because people will try to, you know. Yeah. So, well, like I said before, I mean every word what I say about Larsa Pippen. She's a thought pocket. So, not a hot pocket. She's a thought pocket. I just can't even imagine. I just can't even imagine somebody. There's just a such thing as like human decency. Like I said before, man. Like why Marcus? Like this, like for real. It could have been just anybody. Everybody, and to be honest with you, everybody looked bad in this situation. Everybody looked bad in this situation. And yeah, I do agree. I always thought, listen, David Stern never had me fooled. I always thought David Stern was a white supremacist. He showed it on several occasions. David Stern act like people came to see his ass. Always looking for camera time. Always trying to act like he was the long hand of the law. Like I said, that man was the biggest hypocrite ever. How you gonna sit up there and talk about morals and integrity of the game, but you sitting up cheating? You know what I'm saying? You cheating in games, you rigging drafts, possibly rigging games and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, just can we stop it, please? Like I said before, how could she? I'm serious. I don't even see how Larsa Pippen could even walk around with a straight face, knowing what she doing. Like that's like for real. Now, of course, you gonna have the thought pocket nation that's gonna sit up there and condone this type of stuff. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I ain't feeling that. I ain't feeling that whatsoever. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying somebody that you seen walking on the court like as a little boy, and then you sitting up walking around with him and stuff, and like like Scott, like So I'm just thinking about just all this stuff Michael Jordan just be doing and stuff. Like I said, the man ain't a good person. He not a good person outside of basketball. He's not a good person. That's factual. But then most of these dudes aren't anyway. But a lot of these dudes try to pretend that they are. Like I said before, I have heard horror stories about Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan forget the people that made him who he is, and it's the people from his community that look like him. White boys didn't make Jordans. The rappers in the black community made Jordan. We were the ones that were getting up early in the morning, camping, camping out, at these stores and stuff. We were the ones that were begging our parents, and our parents was working 2 jobs overtime to buy them shoes. Like I said, we're sneaker culture, not these outsiders. We the ones that made wearing sneakers cool, while these white boys was wearing their surfers and all that other stuff and wearing Vans and all that stuff. We the ones that were rocking the sneakers. We the ones that brought swag and coolness to to the suburbs, watching their favorite rapper and then emulating it. But of course, they make all the money. That's the problem. We innovate something, but then we don't see no dividends. Everybody else makes money off of us except us. So there you have it. Anyway, appreciate you guys being here. I'll be back with more later. I'm out.